Today we are off to Tour Development Academy to have a golf lesson with one of Canada's top golf coaches, Nathan Leonhardt. In the last 4 or 5 years, golf has been my main sport and I practice and play regularly, although as every player knows, you can always be better. So today Nathan is going to critique my swing so I can be more consistent, post more scores in the 70s and stop banging my head against the wall when things go wrong. Stick around till the end because we go in depth with things that can help many of you, including in-depth swing analysis, training aids, and we even get the force plates out to learn what my feet were doing to create power. So as I warm up on a cold winter's day, please like and subscribe to the channel and feel free to write down in the comments what you are working on in your swing. Let's get into it.
What would be the ultimate miss for you? Is there something that stands out that happens more often than not? You said, is it right? Like, do you slice it? Do you hook it?
It's always been right for me. You know, the slice cut. Definitely the driver 3-wood, the more I get. And I understand like the out to in path and coming across it, and I understand kind of the physics behind it. So I think last year I tried to navigate that by probably coming too shallow in my takeaway and backswing to navigate through it, which brought in a couple of other things, including a pretty snap hook. And
yeah, those are fun.
Oh, it was just like, I'm done with golf for a bit, you know. So, but yeah, I think it's always been right. And there was times last year I just decided to play it, which is obviously the way you can go about it. But I just want to be able to control what I'm doing, and there's just no control. It's just a bit of a guessing game.
Yeah. So I mean, looking at you setup's great for most part. I like the knee bend, the bend from the hips, good amount of width in those feet. So we've got a good solid base under you there. Right hand looks to be, if I'm kind of looking up here, it's on the verge of maybe a touch strong, the right hand under. It's not a lot, but just a little bit. But then the opposite in this left hand. Okay, so I can't really see hardly any of that logo, nothing of on the Velcro of your glove there. I would like to see a little bit of that Velcro, which would mean that left hand would be just turned ever so slightly more on top.
Yep.
As we look at you taking this club back, takeaway looks quite nice. You know, you obviously got good width in the arms, picking that club head up a bit. Angle, this club face looks nice. You know, it's pretty similar to your spine angle, which is going to be fairly square there at the moment. Can't say that, and just because it's inside the hands a little bit, I'm not going to say, oh no, he's taking it inside too much. As we look at you over here, kind of get this sensation that the hips are kind of moving out this way a little bit, but that head staying there, almost as if you're leaning over towards the target a little bit. Whenever that spine leans towards the target in the top of the swing and starting the downswing and transition, that usually leads more to an over-the-top, steep kind of swing.
Gotcha. So when like the chest is more to the target versus the hips, yeah?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. If anything, the spine, I'd like it up and down, or even slightly tilted away from the target for most players. Because then at least when that's the case, then it's easier to kind of bump these hips over towards the target. But right now, when you're leaning over with the upper body, you're more likely to want to like tip over from the top than you are bumping these hips. Because bumping these hips over is what's going to really help us kind of learn to swing from the inside out. Heading up to the top of the swing, as I look at you right here and down the line, I'd say your arm structure, the shaft, the direction the shaft is pointed, that looks great. This isn't the end of the backswing though. I'm just saying that in this part right now looks quite good. So then we go, I'd say maybe a touch long here at the top of the swing. I like to always see that club head above the hands at the top. I also love to see right now that shaft angle being similar to your lead arm angle. And so as you keep going, now that shaft angle's like pointed over here somewhere. So right now, you know, this club just 2 up and down.
Yeah.
I really want that to be outside the ball line here. Because the whole idea is if your shaft is here at the top of the swing, all we need to do is learn to bring it right back down on that line. But for you, you get this shaft kind of pointed over here, you're not gonna bring it down on that angle, right? You need to kind of loop it around first before it starts to get on that swing plane. And that looping action causes a lot of inconsistencies in a golf swing. So we're steep, coming down, elbows kind of stuck behind, quite a bit of lag here.
A lot of angle, eh?
A lot of angle. And then at the end, the body doesn't want to turn, right? Because if you're steep and the body keeps turning, you're going to be steeper. Yeah, we need this angle of this shaft to help with a bunch of things. Okay, so from here, this would be great. I mean, this is what I would really like.
Okay, but I'm not getting there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see.
And you were a little bit like this. So we're trying to find, and when I do this to this, it's not like your whole arms change. There's some forearm rotation right here, right? The wrist kind of turning there. But this shaft angle is more on the line of that lead arm. And ideally, that's what we're gonna have.
Okay.
There we go. Nice. And so in the beginning, when I'm talking about trying to flatten out the shaft, I want to overdo it.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to get it into a 2 flat position so that maybe you get the sensation of what flat feels like.
Yeah.
Because once we take this away, you're probably going to slowly go back to your old way. We're hoping to meet in the middle.
Which is kind of like that feeling, yeah?
There you go. Yeah, great. Good. I'm going to just put this thing in between your forearms here.
Okay.
Okay. And I want you to keep that in there all the way to the top.
Okay.
All the way to the top. How hard is that for you?
Very hard.
Okay. Again, that really all that's doing is proving the point of like external rotation.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's a good drill. You can use this or just a ball or whatnot. And hands a little flatter, a little more round, not so lifted in the backswing. There you go.
There more so?
Nice, yeah.
And like, I don't want to, what are your thoughts on, I'm just thinking like hand depth versus just the wrist angles to create that shallowness.
Yeah. So I want you to feel like you're constantly taking your hands around your body until that body just can't get any more kind of like rotation.
Okay.
I don't want you to eventually get to the end point and you're like, I need more. And you're kind of getting it with that right elbow pulling back away, which causes the shaft to get across the line and whatnot. Good. Nice. So now what I want you to do is I want you to start bringing it down.
Okay.
And go to the top for me. So as you're bringing this down now, your goal is to think like right now we have this, well, think about this point right here.
Okay.
I want it to kind of stay on a bit of an angle like this as opposed to going like that.
Okay.
Okay, so set up, let's do it together.
Okay.
So bring it here, all the way to the top. Good, we're gonna slowly start coming down. Good, turn, beautiful.
It feels so much more, just rounded would be the right word for that.
Okay.
Compared to what I'm used to.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool tool.
Yeah, I saw Rory using it and I was like, interesting. Well, so many people have this kind of same issue where that elbow's out. And they just get disconnected in some way in the takeaway or even through impact. Whereas kind of learning to kind of keep the elbows kind of like a similar distance apart through the entire swing. And then even coming into impact, how to get these arms rolling over versus like, you know, the chicken wing.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if we can do it without the training aid, the training wheel. Good, nice. Yeah. So I just want to like mention where we're going with this. So for you right now, you're starting to get the shaft a little flatter at the top, which is just more on plane versus it kind of being across the line. Okay. And like I said, the whole idea is that now in the downswing, what we're going to be feeling is like this head and chest kind of staying down, rotating, and I don't have to worry about that club head coming over the top. But when you have this shaft over here like this, and we start coming down, and if I stay, it's really hard to like get all the way back there when I keep this head and chest down. Keep that head and chest down and rotate. Usually I'm steep over the top, things like that. So we're just setting you up so that now you can actually use the ground properly to help you rotate, stay in posture. The chest almost feels like it's helping you go over the top, but with a shaft that's flatter, both those things going together ideal kind of club path plan coming down. Yeah, so I mean, when we're using force plates, it's all to measure really what we can't see too much. You know, I found back in the day when I thought, you know, as a player, I thought I knew what I was doing. Like I was pushing into the ground, my leg was straightening, so I was like, okay, that must be when I'm putting the most force in. It wasn't until I actually got on force plates where I was like, oh wow, I thought I was applying the most amount of force at this time in my swing, but that wasn't actually what was happening. So it's just something that's able to measure underneath the feet and the amount of force you're pushing in that is really tough visually to see as a coach, and also for a player to show them exactly when and how much they actually are and what directions they're pushing into the ground.
Love it. So I'm not really thinking about anything, just literally swinging and whatever's natural.
Do what you do, yeah, please. All right, man. So these are the Smart to Move dual force plates. So it's measuring force in each foot separately. So we can look at it a bunch of different ways. We can look at it with this 2D view, just kind of watching your pressure shifting. The yellow ball, kind of the center of pressure, kind of moving around. The red being your right foot, the blue being your left foot, where the center of pressure in each foot is moving. You can see on the bottom how you move up to 82% into your trail side up to this stage of the swing, and then we start seeing it push into that lead side. It kind of just helps us see where in the feet you're kind of moving the pressure. Now, this is kind of cool. We can just see in different directions which directions the forces are going in the feet and whatnot, which is awesome. But if I really wanted to get into understanding where maybe you are losing or could improve some power, you're not utilizing the ground efficiently enough, then I started kind of going into the graphs. For yourself, the black line down here in the bottom, that's a lateral, so side to side force. The yellow one there in the middle, that is rotational torque. And then the orange one on top, that's your vertical. And so that's usually a one where a lot of people are missing out to really gain a lot of speed, is like vertical force. The peak of your vertical force, we want that to be happening around this stage of your swing that's in that video. Okay, so just by shaft parallel to the ground at most, we'd like to see you peaking in that orange graph there. And if I go to your peak, that's at the ball.
It's at impact, yeah.
So you are getting your vertical force peaking at impact, which is too late.
Okay.
Now, essentially what you're doing is throwing the speed to the club out here after impact, as opposed to at the golf ball. That's the timing. Then there's also like the magnitude, like how much we're actually pushing into the ground. There's a dotted line up here, which represents like a threshold. That's like a good for your weight. That would be a good kind of like good average spot to get to. Not like through the roof, but you can see you're not even at that. So first of all, you're not pushing hard enough, and you're not pushing hard enough soon enough. Okay, so magnitude and timing both need to be a little improved there to deliver the speed into that club head at the ball.
And do you think, you know, and the reason I was curious about these force plates was, I suppose, like the consistency of ball impact is, I feel like a lot of times last year, my distribution in my feet upon my swing, I felt like I was changing so much. I was trying to feel things under my feet, and I didn't really quite understand when and what to feel. And I feel like that resulted in obviously some inconsistencies with the ball striking and whatnot. So
we'd want you to be trying to feel like as soon as you are starting your downswing, that you're trying to push off that lead side, right? It's like, right?
Gotcha.
You might have the medicine balls, right, in the gym or whatnot, where you're trying to feel like really throwing that thing into the ground, but you're not going to go and wait till here and start to push off the ground here, because then all your speed with the ball is going to be out there. If you're late on pushing off, then you're going to be not getting that kind of rotation through here, because a lot of times vertical force is going to help you get this lead hip push back too.
yeah, okay.
Right? And so if we're not doing it till later, maybe we're not getting that opened up until after the ball, versus getting a little earlier push off, which can also get rotation happening earlier into it.
Yeah, it's definitely another feel. Like really trying to get those feet working.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a complete different feel.
It takes some getting used to,
Yeah,
for sure. Good shaft angle, nice. Really, I want you to go ahead and do your backswing.
Okay.
So right now, I'm gonna start having some tension here.
Yep.
I need you to try to fight through to your finish position without you like falling into me.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead and like you're swinging through. Good. All the way through. Give me some speed. There you go. Nice. Nice. There it is. Now that right side's working too as well. Do you feel like you have to use the ball of your left foot to push out of the ground?
Just prevent falling over, right?
Exactly. Yeah, take it off. Now go ahead and just try it, practice swing. Shaft angle and then same feel. Yep.
I'm on my heels there.
Yeah, exactly. Almost always happens because
Yeah.
you learn to push out of the ground there. Oh, nice swing. So first thing I want to kind of look at is top of the swing. Like this one at the top of the swing, this shaft angle over here, so good, like that lead arm, like what we wanted, like we said earlier. And then this is what we saw earlier happening, this shaft
So
just
gross.
being really steep.
Yeah.
Look at you here coming down, like this transition
Just
is,
their hips was,
I know, look at that, eh?
Oh, yum.
It looks so much better. Shaft angle, so much flatter coming down, which allows you to stay in posture, allows you to rotate more, right? Shoulders are open more, hips are open more. We could, you know, with time, continue to get that pulse, that push out of that left foot being harder earlier so that we're seeing that left leg being a little straighter earlier type of thing. That's just kind of constant improvement from this position. But already that looks so much better
Different golfer, right?
than kind of what this was looking like earlier. Yeah, we got to know that as soon as we go back to that full speed right away, it's tough. I mean, you're already showing good improvement, but we got to just kind of take it slow because most often when we add that power in or the speed, and your speed was kind of like this, just the way it kind of snatched down, or even in the backswing with the speed, the club's just gonna wanna be in a different position. So the way I always want someone to kind of work through this is go up here, and since we're focusing on the top of the swing, go up and kind of feel that sensation. Okay, I feel whatever it is you feel, whether it's the right elbow in, whether it's just the wrist kind of laying that shaft down there, right? And then from there, I'm almost gonna kind of like stop for a split second, feel a little bit of a pause to allow myself to be like, yeah, that's the feeling, and go. And again, that's like half speed. But I'm just, this is all I care about right now. And then for you, the second piece was kind of like, okay, we got here to the top. Then it's, okay, I need to keep that angle, not jerk on it. And so that's where kind of doing it slowly to keep that shaft still on that angle is important. So I get to that position, okay, keeping that shaft angle.
Oh, whew, best one today. That was sweet.
Oh, must be nice.
Cheers, bro, that's great.